Hello, everyone, and guten Tag. And thanks, of course, to you for having me. Hope everyone is doing well in these challenging times. So let me start with a few words on the Italian program. So we covered different verticals, but the first one was food, where we work with Esselunga, a food retailer here in the north of Italy, Lavazza, that you might know, the coffee maker, and Tetrapak, which is one of the world's leading food packaging manufacturer. So why food? Why is it so important? Of course, in terms of the problems that we have to tackle, the sustainability challenge, as in many other sectors, but also coping with growing demand and shifting consumer trends. But it's also a question of opportunity because of all the disruption coming with digital transformation that also Dr. Han was talking about. It arrived in other sectors first. Food is a bit behind. And this means that there's a great opportunity for innovation, also maybe for more traditional players or traditional countries like Italy or the whole of Europe to catch up and innovate. The great thing about Plug and Play is that we work both with corporates and startups. So on this slide, you can see what are the interest areas that interest our partners. In terms of product innovation, I'm starting with this because we've seen quite a bit of it in our US programs, so alternative proteins, alternative meat, although focused on the product, whilst in Italy and maybe Europe in general, this is a bit less urgent, or it's growing in the last couple of months and years. But there's also a lot of focus on retail that we've also seen before, everything related to manufacturing, and of course, packaging and sustainability. This is quite big. So this is on the corporate side, but what about the startups we've been seeing in the first three programs? So we did this analysis quite recently, just to look what were the most important focus areas or the startups most represented. And in terms of materials, food safety, probably also due to COVID that got a boost, recycling, these were quite important, maybe a bit less on operational efficiency and reusable packaging. So this in terms of the presence of the areas, but if we also go to the next slide and we see what the partners rated as the most interesting areas, yeah, we get similar results. So again, sustainable materials, recycling, packaging integrity, traceability, and everything related to safety, upcycling. These have been rated as very interesting startups by our partners, and so gives an idea of what's hot in the market. And if we want to deep dive, as the last slide, on the packaging trends, of course, plastics is not easy to replace, but we've been happy to see so many solutions over the last year and a half in different parts and different ways to tackle this huge problem, making packaging more sustainable, but without losing its quality. So yeah, these are some of the trends that we've been seeing in our food program. And now, conscious of the time, we can, of course, move on to the important parts, so the startup pitches. So without any further ado, I'm very happy to welcome Melissa from Nourished. Melissa, if you could turn on your mic and camera. Can you hear us? And also share your screen, please.
Yep, sure. So hi, everybody. 1 second, let me just get this on.
Hello.
Okay. Hi. Right.
Yes,
So,
that's it.
you can see it?
Yes, yeah, virtual floor is yours.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Melissa Snober, the CEO and founder at Remedy Health. At Remedy, we use 3D printing technology to personalize the markets of health and wellness. I started my career in 2010 when I launched the world's first vegan allergen-free gummy range called Goody Good Stuff. I grew that to a global brand and sold it to Cloetta in 2014. On the back of my experiences with Goody Good Stuff and working in traditional manufacturing sites and productions, I became really frustrated by the large minimum order quantities and the massive lead times for MPD. So I decided to develop a way for customers to create their own products and join forces with Katjes Germany in 2015 to launch the world's first FDA and FSA approved 3D food printer called the Magic Candy Factory. Magic Candy Factory went all around the world as well, and it's educational, delightful, and a success in its own right. But confectionery, personalized or otherwise, wasn't the real vision I had for my technology, and I wanted to apply it in a better, more global, impactful way. So in 2018, I started to work in the areas of health and wellness. And in 2019, in May, my team and I launched the Remedy Group. My team at Remedy, which is now 40 people and counting, have worked extremely hard to amass an impressive IP library with over 10 patents and several proprietary technologies and software algorithms, which we now apply in 2 different applications for preventative health with our concept Nourished and curative health with Scripted. Nourished is the world's first truly personalized vitamin. By answering a few short questions on our online consultation, our clever algorithm produces a recommendation of the 7 nourishments best suited to you, from an extensive list of vitamins, minerals, superfoods, and actives. We then 3D print your product in our Birmingham facility and ship it to your door every month in 100% plastic-free, home compostable packaging. But what's more, because we make Nourish fresh to order, and because all of our nourishments are encapsulated in a patented vegan gel, our nutrient densities are 99.5% or higher, and you can absorb up to 70% more of the beneficial functional ingredients inside. In addition, my team and I have been working with a variety of different health organizations, doctors, pharmacists, and patient care providers across the Eurozone, the UK, and the United States in order to apply our technology around curative solutions, particularly around medicine. By using our 3D printing technology, we've already successfully completed 1 human trial in Barcelona, where we allowed for doctors to create customized dosaging in a live patient environment. This basically eliminated incorrect dosing and human error. It eliminated wastage for the actual patient care provider, and it made the entire process and the medium of the medication itself more enjoyable to take, which increased patient adherence to regime. In the future, we're also working on a polypill by using our same encapsulation technology from Nourished, being able to create 1 single daily chewable using different layers of encapsulation to control dispersion rates through the blood at different times. And eventually, we also hope that doctors will be able to use biometric testing and DNA to empower their recommendations even further. We launched the Nourished concept in the United Kingdom in the winter of 2019 in November, and we already have over 3,000 monthly subscribers and growing. 20% month on month is our steady CAGR growth, and we launched the US beta store literally yesterday, and we'll be launching Nourished Kids in October of this year. We'll be going to our Series A funding round at the beginning of October, the proceeds of which will be used to set up an operational production facility in the United States to service North American demand and further progress the developments around Scripted and the future of 3D personalization of medicine. Thank you very much for your attention. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, Melissa. That was perfectly on time, and thanks for the impressive presentation. So yeah, let's see if any question comes in from the audience. And yeah, so what is your current production capacity?
Current production capacity in the UK is 10,000 orders monthly on a single shift per day on a 5-day week.
Okay, perfect. And how complex is it to set up your own vitamin plan? What do you say?
It's quite complicated. The rules and regulations around vitamins are relatively the same as food. However, we also have GMP certification in many parts of the building for the pharma project. So we had to spend around 6 months in the beginning of the business's time to do all of that. We also make all of our own machines. So we have 2 factories, 1 for machine building and 1 for actual production of consumables. So they have different certifications for each, but it allows us to scale very quickly and allows us to develop new technology from a hardware standpoint to be able to service the new market demand.
Perfect. Those answers the other questions that came in. So thanks a lot, Melissa. Moving on to the next. Thank you. Thank you. So now we should have Alessandro from Exaggro. Ciao, Ale. Are you connected?
Can you see me, guys?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hi there, everyone. I guess I need to share my screen real quick. Here we go. Here we are.
Great.
Wonderful. Shall I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, wonderful. So hello, everyone. It's Alessandro. I'm one of the co-founders of Exaggro. We are an urban farming company developing technologies to allow anybody, anywhere access healthy food. We have started from a big question. I guess you're all aware of the increasing rates of urbanization. And one of the main questions that we're asking ourselves is how we're going to produce the food we need for the 10 billion people living in mostly urban areas by 2050. You might also know that it's not really a question about producing more, it's rather a question of improving the accessibility of the food that we actually produce. We already waste 50%, probably this year is gonna be even more because of the disruptions of COVID on the supply chain. So we've started looking at different solutions. You might have heard, of course, about urban farming. This is the perfect example of a rooftop garden. Is wonderful for community management and projects like this. A little bit less in terms of seasonality and technology used, but it's really working well. Then we have other gadgets that are working also quite well for the B2C markets. Lots of varieties, everybody can enjoy their own growing, but of course the quantity of that produce is quite limited. And then we have on the complete end of the other spectrum, huge industrialized versions, sorry. What we are trying to do is actually to bring the benefits all of. Do you keep seeing my screen? Because I don't know what is coming up.
Yeah, we do see it.
Okay, perfect. You don't see the other one, right? Because I don't know what's happening to the other one open. Sorry. So, my God. 1 second.
It's okay, don't worry. We do see slides.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to the email. Okay, here we go. So what we're doing here at Exaggro is basically combining all of these benefits of the different technologies and connecting them all together into network so that everybody can become a grower or an urban farmer. And we are starting from the hardware perspective. So we're building hardware that can be completely modular and scalable and installed into any space. We already launched 2 products, one for the indoor market and the indoor growing, the other one that is quite recent for outdoors. And all of those 2 products are driven by, of course, software and automation, but mostly all of the users are guided through the experience through our chatbot, which is not just making farming easy for everyone, but is also gathering people's wellness data, environmental quality of the space where you're installing the product. And of course, thanks to all of this data, we're also able to gather plant science analytics. So that's quite important for us. And on top of this, we are building more and more a set of services that are going to enrich the experience of the users and especially build the community around it. We already have over 4 years of experience working with the B2B sectors, such as hotels, offices, and co-working spaces, mostly with this product that is the indoor version, the more technological version. And quite recently, we have launched as a direct response and reaction to the COVID lockdowns, the outdoor version, which is a much more accessible unit for terraces and balconies so that people can actually enjoy the benefits of growing also in their own place. We are a team with over 30 years of experience combined in IoT and vertical farming. We lucky enough to have a growing board of advisors with all C-levels experiences, and we've been supported by many organizations throughout our story, let's say, to develop our sustainability and impactful technologies development. Our business model is pretty simple. Just to give you an idea, we make revenues by selling the hardware or by leasing it to our B2B clients. And then on top of that, we build services that have a recurrent revenue model. We are looking for indirect sales partnerships. So anyone that is interested in distribution channels or service partnerships, let's definitely talk about it in the next breakout session. And just to give it an idea of our social impact, part of our revenue is going to Siembra Vertical, which is our impactful project in developing countries. What we do is that we take all of the technology we developed in the West, we simplify it, we make it more accessible and affordable, and we transfer it into developing countries so that everyone can really be able to grow and enjoy the benefits of this technology.
Thanks, Alessandro.
Yeah, I guess I ran a little bit late. Sorry, guys.
No worries. No worries, but thanks for your presentation. And main question that came up, which plants can be grown with your solution?
So for the product that is indoor, we're using high pressure aeroponics. So we can actually grow anything but trees because it's just a little bit uncomfortable. But we already made tests from everything that is the microgreens up to the fruits and other kind of vegetables. Also roots such as potatoes and carrots. And on the other side, let's say the outdoor version is pretty much everything, including large vegetables such as like cucumbers and big fruits, because they have a much more resistant structure so that they can hold more weight.
Clear. Grazie mille, Alessandro.
You're welcome.
And so let's move on to the third pitch of the food sector part. So Natural Machines by Emilio. Emilio, are you connected?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great, we can see you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
If you can share your screen.
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen now. Okay, and hopefully we don't have any problem with it. So yeah. You should be seeing it now?
Yeah, we do see it.
Okay. And let me see. Okay. Okay, so let's go. My name is Emilio Sepúlveda. I'm co-founder and CEO of Natural Machines, a company that we started like 12 years ago. In 2012. And what we do is a kitchen appliance that is based on 3D printing technology and helps personalize food. But also we are tackling the Sustainable Development Goal number 12 and helping reduce food waste both in production and in consumption. So what we saw is that due to COVID, our customer needs shifted. So they are no longer looking for nice looking things, but they are looking for solutions that help them having something that has fast return on investment and helps them differentiate from competition and get additional revenue sources. So what we are delivering them and helping them with is providing this kind of wow effect, if you want, unique experiences, personalizing the products and driving new sales and reducing costs. There are also some opportunities that are arising due to COVID. So we have some bigger companies that are looking to roll out in mass scale, if you want. And of course, you have to be ready to do that. That means that you have to have a production facility in place. But we're also working in longer term opportunities, mainly in the healthcare market and well-being for elderly care and dysphagia patients from cancer or other diseases. And we are working also with companies that are working in the alt proteins space. So helping them produce things like what you see on the screen, which is a tuna coming from mushrooms mainly, and some other products. We have customers, of course, in restaurants, hotels, food brands as well, but also education, healthcare, as mentioned, and even retailers. We are helping them to have something in their deli corners or coffee corners in which they can drive attention and also generate new revenue. So probably something of interest for the promoters of this event today. We have customer presence in most of the developed countries. Our fastest growing market right now is Asia Pacific. What we can say also is that we are in the right spot, in the right time. We have a production facility in place. We built with Foxconn, who is a manufacturer for Apple products, Microsoft products, HP products, and many of the gadgets you see around. We have the certifications in place, and we have patents already protecting what we do. We make money mainly selling devices, but also we have recurring revenue coming from data services, and we get a cut from the pre-filled capsules that go with Foodini. Right now, the main revenue source is selling devices, and we are selling them for €3,600 a piece. In terms of revenue, even though the company started in 2012, we started sales in 2018, and we have seen a good growth rate, but we are getting into the break-even point only this year. In fact, this same month. And we foresee next year is going to be scale-up opportunity for us as we have the right leads in place. The team includes engineers, food specialists, and the other profiles we need. And our vision as a company is to become a common kitchen appliance in all the kitchens in the world. So we are launching the B2C version, which also cooks with lasers in the next 18 months or so. So thanks for the opportunity and looking forward to working with you.
Thanks a lot, Emilio, for your presentation. Let's see if any questions pop in through Slido. No, okay, I guess your presentation was very, very clear. So thanks again, Emilio, for.
Thank you.
Okay, so then moving on, last but not least, Metek 3D. Do we have Simon connected? Simon, can you hear us?
Going up, great. That's all working smoothly.
Okay, perfect.
Good evening.
See you. Hello.
Hi. And I'll get to sharing the screen as well.
Yeah.
Right. Is that working for everybody?
Perfect. We see it.
Great. Wonderful. Well, in that case, I'll kick off. So thank you for hosting me. Obviously, having the food tech presentation just before what's probably going to be dinner, or at least an aperitivo, is going to challenge everybody. But we're going to have to put up with a bit more talk about food. So welcome to Metek, and we're about making steak and about making proteins, essentially. So what you see here is something that some people will look at and go, I want one of those. And some of you will look at that and say, well, I'm not so sure. And essentially, our mission here is to see how we can make steak right for everybody. Everybody should be able to have their steak and eat it, essentially. The catch, of course, is that there are many stakeholders in the world of steak, not least being the environment, of course, the cost, the water, the cost of land and water use, and methane emissions, and obviously the ethical concerns that people have, not to mention additional nutritional questions. So protein isn't problem-free, and we've seen recently in the world of alternative proteins quite a lot of development, particularly on the side of plant-based brands, some of which you'll see here, but there's a new area that relates to the growth of cells that are animal-based, essentially making meat without the animal. And this is the area of focus for Metek. And what we're trying to do is, by using some quite advanced 3D bioprinting technologies, to essentially take this cellular animal cell-based protein out of the lab and into the printer, such that we can create structured tissue, a steak as any of us would expect it, but manufactured in a completely different way. So our approach to this manufacturing is essentially, on the one hand, growing cells, on the other hand, it's printing them in a complex structure with carefully formulated bioinks. And there's a complex process. I won't wow you with science, but essentially it's intended to be ethical throughout. To the biopsies that we take are actually taken from an umbilical cord, and it's replicating the process, the biological process that you'd find inside of a cow, just doing so outside of a cow. And the end result is a factory that looks somewhat as you see here. Part of it is growing that protein in the form of cells, a high throughput printing system that allows you to create the structure of the meat, and then finally a phase of incubation where those cells are able to grow, at the end of which you have a steak. You can do many things with it, and just to touch on some of the opportunities and advantages that the adopter of our technology would benefit from are several. Obviously, in the time of COVID, there are concerns about food and employee safety as a whole. This is a very automated, low contact, low labor intensive approach to making food. It's obviously very closely supervised. It's a flexible process, so you're making meat, but you can make it very quickly. You can make any number of different types of shapes. You are essentially printing to a design. It obviously shortens supply chains, improves the shelf life of the product, and you can become an agricultural superpower even if you don't have the pampas on your doorstep. And finally, of course, for consumers, you get tremendous range of product choice. We're able to deal with seasonal variability, and you get better food safety and food security. So that is our mission. It's a listed company, so that's one thing that makes the company somewhat different. So it's listed on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, is fairly well funded, and we have some quite large investors behind us. We're looking to continue developing the technology with a view to leasing it as a means for value-added food producers to be able to have independent meat manufacturing capability. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Simon. One question we have for you. How long does the production take from the cultivation of the cells to the ready-to-eat meat?
So I don't know if I can back up in the presentation, but essentially the process, different to raising a cow, essentially the journey from the beginning of the traditional approach to having a steak on your plate might be something in the region of a couple of years. The nature of cellular agriculture is that it is an exponential process. You essentially double the mass that you're producing on a daily basis. So for something like a steak, from beginning to end, including the printing and the incubation, you'd be looking at something in the region of 2 months, 2.5 months at the very most.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Simon, for your presentation.
Thank you.
So with that, we ended with all the 4 startup pitches in the food tech part. Now is the time to vote, and so I'll also hand it back to Johannes.